All righty, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We got a full house today. We got a full show today. 3 fulls. We got 3 teams to cover today. 2 of them being from the capital city of Madison. So we are actually going to start, Mike in the spirit already with the jersey on. We're going to start with Badgers basketball. Then we're going to discuss the Badgers' loss to Ohio State and preview their matchup with Indiana. And then we will bid adieu to Mike for this week. And then Jake and I are going to cover the 3 Milwaukee Bucks games from last week. So jumping into it, we're going to save AJ Storr and Nolan Winter for when we get to the impact meter, because those 2 are both in our top 8 rotational players. So we will talk about them when we get into the impact meter. So AJ Storr, Nolan Winter. Then we have Gus Yeldon and John Blackwell, a couple of freshmen. Start with Gus Yeldon. We're going to start with the fact that he is stepping away from the team as of today for personal reasons. He's still enrolled at school, and he's still going to be with the student faculty relations services, I believe is what they phrased it as. But he is stepping away from the team for personal matters. First and foremost, we want to say we hope it's nothing serious. We hope everything is good for Gus and for his family. So we'll start with that. But that said, Mikey, what are you looking at for Gus Yeldon, Baby Jokic, to bring to the Badgers basketball team?
Just first and foremost, another big who can help out, but whether if he does play this year behind Big Steve and rotating even with a guy like Carter Gilmore too, who's only got that 6'8", 6'9" frame to play the 5 spot potentially. You kind of mentioned it with Baby Jokic. He's got one hell of a post game as well. You watch any of his AAU clips and they're just filthy with some of the stuff he can do. And just bringing, intensity. I mean, when you watch him play, I mean, the dude's not quiet to say the least. When he makes a play, he lets you know about it for sure. So just bringing that intensity as well to the game, and we can always use another great post player. I mean, Wisconsin's known for that as well. So no, I'm looking forward to those kinds of things for Gus Yeldon.
Jake, what stands out to you about Gus Yeldon, what he can bring as a freshman?
So it's fitting that his nickname is Gus Bus, because this man can definitely carry a team on his back. I had that one ready in the chamber. I'm so proud of that one. So he's got a little bit of old school swag, man. Talking about his post game, he's got some really, really good footwork. Mikey pointed out one of the things that I like about him is I like how vocal he is. There's different ways to lead, and being a guy that could dominate you and tell you to your face that he's dominating you, that does something for a team. It gives you that juice, right? So I like Gus Yeldon for those reasons. I would love to see him back with the team playing, getting some minutes this year. That would be phenomenal. I'm really, really excited for him. I think he's going to be a really good player, and I think that he fits the Wisconsin brand of basketball. So that's what I think of Gus Yeldon. I think he's going to be phenomenal.
So he is 6'10", and his words since he's gotten to Wisconsin that he's lost 42 pounds. He looks like he's in pretty good shape. One of his goals actually with his strength and conditioning over the summer was to run a half marathon, and he did that. So that's already more than I could do. There's not a chance that I'm running a half marathon. With Gus Yeldon, he's essentially a 3-level scorer. He can score in the paint. He's got some mid-range, and he will shoot the 3 if you leave him open. Mike alluded to it, where if you watch his AAU highlights, it's just tons of highlights. He's got really crafty footwork, and he's very smart with his pump fakes. So that's my big thing with Gus Yeldon is the footwork. And then he's talking about with his work, and I just love this as far as relating to anything you want to accomplish in life, is putting a penny in the jar every day.
I like that.
I love that quote from Gus Yeldon. So I think I'm gonna hold on to that actually.
Pretty good.
Mike, what about John Blackwell? What do you see him bringing to the team?
Just tenacity on defense. I actually have a somewhat comparison in some regard with Chucky Hepburn. Honestly, they've made it. The staff's made it clear already that he's already competing with AJ Storrs, Chucky Hepburns, like in practice already. So I think we might not bring him up in the impact meter, but he actually, dark horse, he might get a few minutes for us this year. You just hear about his competitive drive in practice, but his defense is what really sticks out. This is why I think Gardo and the staff brought him in. They made it clear that they love his defensive mindset, so to speak. So now I wish I could watch more. I wish I would have watched more film on him. So what I did catch is that he's just going to be in your face, just a straight up ball hawk. Yeah, like similar to how like Chucky plays defense on the top of a key, on top of the key versus like opposing teams' point guards as well. It's another one of those types of players. So just another Wisconsin type point guard, honestly, I think at the end of the day.
Jake, what are you thinking about John Blackwell?
Yeah, so John Blackwell is a 4-star rated recruit. He's number 84 in ESPN's top 100. And yeah, that's the first thing that you see when you watch his film is he is an absolute dog on defense. He doesn't care if you're the number 1 scorer in the nation. He's going to take that assignment and he's going to give you everything that you can handle. You're going to work for your points when you're going against John Blackwell. He's a little bit more of a combo guard on the offensive side. In my opinion, he could play with the ball and off the ball, which is obviously a really big thing, you know, talking about Wisconsin style of play, right? So he's going to fit in just fine. He was rated, before I end this, he was the number 26 rated combo guard in the entire country. So that's pretty damn solid. He's going to fit in just fine. I think we're not going to lose much when Chucky leaves. I think John Blackwell will take that and keep that point guard position looking good. Although we have a guy coming in next year who's pretty good too.
And don't sleep on Kamari McGee. He's made some.
Yeah,
we'll talk about Kamari McGee. He's in our impact meter, so we'll talk about him. With me, what I noticed with John Blackwell, speed, athleticism, and he can shoot. He's another guy like Gus, who I think is actually capable of being a 3-level scorer. That might change a little bit when he gets to playing some taller defenders in the Big Ten. You know, not just Zach Edey, but just in general. But he seems to have the ability to get to the paint, and then he can shoot the mid-range and the 3-point shot. And watching him talk, he knows that competing and playing defense is his path to playing time as a freshman. So he's already well aware of that. So he's got his focus on the right things that he knows are going to get him on the court.
He's got the frame too. They made that clear as well. Just the frame, a college-ready body, ready to go already with John Blackwell, and that's also been said multiple times with this staff. So, just another reason to go on top of what you just said.
Yeah. What I'll say is with AJ Storr, Nolan Winter, Gus Yeldon, and John Blackwell, all of them when they're being interviewed, all of them brought up Tyler Wall, and then Nolan Winter and Gus Yeldon both brought up Stephen Crowell. And then John Blackwell and AJ Storr both brought up Chucky Hepburn as guys who helped them acclimate to the team. So just seeing those three making some leadership type strides is something that I just wanted to kind of bring up and just give them a little bit of credit for. So good on them for doing that. With that said, we're going to go. I have this kind of listed as the players that we brought up. So the order that I have them in, I don't know if you guys have them in the same order or not, but I have Chucky Hepburn, Connor Essegian, AJ Storr, Tyler Wall, Stephen Crowell, Kamari McGee, Nolan Winter, and Carter Gilmore as the 8 players that we have to talk about for our impact meter. So, Mike, starting on the impact meter, what's your number on Chucky Hepburn?
I got a 9.5 with Chucky. You know, last year when you're looking at the end of the game, if we're strictly looking at the end of the game, right? Who are we going? Who's the guy taking those last second shots? You know, it was Chucky Hepburn probably about 95% of the time. I can maybe think Max Klesmit might have done it a couple other times prior as well, but no, Chucky gets the ball at the end of the game. Did we like the setup exactly? Not all the time, but at the end of the day, this guy will take the shots for us. He's our go-to guy if we need like a 3 or any sort of a jump shot. You know, averaged a little over 12 a game last year. You know, I think, he was 40.5% from 3, which is good. And then he could improve on the free throw percentage, 71.8. I'm going to talk about all that later, but you know, this is his third year with the program now. He's been through it all. He's been in the NCAA tournament. he's had his highs and lows with the program as well, but he's got the experience, probably the most experience with the exception of Tyler Wall with the program. So I'm looking forward to him having a big year for us. And but no, he's right up there for me.
I forgot to put Max Klesman on the list as well, so we can throw him on the list as well. I forgot to put him on. Jake, what do you have Chucky Hepburn at on your impact meter?
I am as a 9, so I thought I was going to be the highest on this, but Mikey hits me with the 0.5 over here. How you doing, Reggie? We're doing good, man. Hope you're doing good. Chucky Hepburn, I mean, obviously point guard, that's a pretty important position, especially, at Wisconsin. Big Ten, point guard has been a dominant position. The best teams have good point guards, right? So for Chucky, he's going to need to be a little bit more efficient scoring-wise. Sometimes he seems hesitant. He can go to the hole. He could dominate you that way, but he seems to settle for some jump shots that he doesn't need to. Not that he's a bad jump shooter, but if you could dominate somebody down low, dominate somebody down low. So that's what I'm looking for. Chucky is a little bit better decision-making when scoring. And, he's a good playmaker, but, we gave you the keys last year, right? When Johnny Davis left, take the damn car, drive it fast. Okay. That's all I want.
So Mike has him at 9.5. Jake has him at 9.
10. I knew it.
10.
when you shook
Chucky
your head, I was
Hepburn's
like,
at 10. He is the engine of the offense for the Badgers. He's, in my opinion, he's the engine of the defense too.
Oh.
As far as, especially on the perimeter. Maybe one other guy, the guy that I forgot to put on the list. But with Chucky Hepburn, not only is he also lost weight in effort to be quicker, but we've seen as Chucky Hepburn goes, so go the Badgers. The times that we've seen Chucky Hepburn struggle, it's been the whole team that has struggled with it because Chucky Hepburn is really the engine of the team, as the driver of the car that Jake's talking about, as the point guard of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So let's throw in Max Klesman right away, just while he's in the front of mine. Mikey, if you had to put a number 1 through 10, Max Klesman, his impact on the team.
Oh, this is a 9 in my view. I don't think people realize how important Max Klesman was last year to our team. This is one of the best transfers I think you could argue in the Big Ten. Who was guarding the opposing team's best guy? It was Max Klesman. 8.5 points per game, almost 3 rebounds a game, 38% from 3. But he was averaging over 30 minutes a game as well. And, he was our go-to guy from 3 at times. I think it was against Michigan when he just absolutely went berserk and carried the team single-handedly the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. I think he scored like 10 straight points. But this is another guy who just brings a bunch of experience, first and foremost. He's going to be called upon multiple times once again this year to hit those big shots for us. It's going to be a committee by committee. And, Klesman, defensively, offensively, I think he can be pretty dangerous. So both sides of the ball, he's absolutely a nice fit for Wisconsin, and credit to the staff for picking him up when we could.
Jake, what would you put 1 through 10 on Max Klesman on his impact?
If I had to put a number on the former Nina Rocket, I'd give him a 7.
Really?
It's not that I don't think that he's, not important. It's just that there's probably a couple other people that I have above him, at least 3 that come to mind that I have that have higher numbers. Max is a great player. He shows toughness, grit, as Wisconsin's kind of getting known for their football team and basketball team. He's a hard-nosed defender. He's a big shot taker. That's an important key to have if you're going to be a D1 basketball player. But Klesman's a good player. I don't think that he's one of the top 3 important guys on this roster.
So I'll give you guys a spoiler alert. I only have 1, 6, and 1, 7 on the list. The rest of my guys are 8, 9, or 10.
Oh, damn.
So
yeah,
I see a lot of importance for these rotation players. But like Mike, I also have Klesman as a 9. You guys both brought up his defense and 3-point prowess. I think there was at least 3 games last year where Max Klesman made a final play in the final minute of the game that was ultimately a deciding factor in whether the Badgers won or not. So his clutch gene should be brought up.
Yes. Good call.
Reggie said, I wish I knew more about college ball. I don't know how to interact. Well, hey, stick around with us. We're going to talk about all the games this year. All right. Next guy on the list, Mike Connor Asian. Where do you have his impact meter, 1 through 10?
I got another 9 on this. Last year, if it wasn't for Connor Asian in multiple games, I have no clue what this team's record would have been. It's crazy. I don't think any of us could have predicted how much of an impact he did make on the team last year. I mean, in this program, it's not that often when you get a true freshman to come in and average, 25 plus minutes a game. And here he's doing that 4 to 5 games in. You think of countless games. I think of Kansas off the top of my head, where that was his his coming out party, just hitting those threes.
Yeah.
I think we were down 15, 16 points, and he led that comeback for us. And
Still could have won that game.
Yeah, and we absolutely got robbed with
Yep.
the Kansas our offensive player stepping on the line. But
Yep.
Asian, he's by far the best free throw shooter on the team, 88.4%, and it's not even remotely close with who's next after that. He's 36% from three, which is good, which is what we need
Great for a
sure.
college basketball player.
For a true freshman too.
Yeah.
11.7 points per game. I mean, this guy, he bailed us out multiple times too. I think, yeah, like I said, Kansas, Marquette, you can probably think about, many other games along the line, but I'm so excited. I think he's one of the best pure shooters we've had in this program. Jesus, I'm going to say since Bronson Koenig, I would say, because that dude could shoot lights out, but
Sure.
just every time he puts the ball up, it seems like it's going in. Like it is that deadly of a shot. So, he puts on a little more 10 pounds worth of muscle. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do on the defensive side of the ball as well, because that is one area where he struggled last year. But, he's young. He's a true sophomore going into this year, and I'm looking forward to what we can see from him.
So I have Connor as an 8 because of that reason for defense. He does still need work defensively. Seeing him in the scrimmage, he looks not exactly the same, but he looks similar defensively to how he did last year. He had some flashes here and there defensively, and then we know what we're getting from him on the offensive side of the ball. We're getting a pure shooter. That's what he's here for. So I have Connor Asian as an 8. Jake, what do you have Connor as?
I have as a 9. He's the floor spacer. He's the guy when you're coming out of bounds. I know that we give the ball to Chucky, but the opposing coaches, when they're in the huddle and they have to guard us and they know that we're going to take a jump shot, I promise you 10 out of 10 times they are mentioning somebody guard Connor Asian, because like Mike said, he has a beautiful jumper. And yes, it does look like it's going in every single time. When he shoots the ball, I'm hand in the air. That's a 3-pointer. And you know what? I'm right a lot of the times because he's a great shooter. So another year, with the program, with the weight staff, hopefully he put on some strength. We're going to be able to see here pretty soon. But yeah, defensively, I think that would help him more, is putting on the strength. I don't think offensively it's going to matter too much because he's a jump shooter, right? I mean, not that it couldn't hurt for him to add some dribble drive ability to his game, but he's a jump shooter. And if he could become a 3-and-D player, that is his way into the NBA because, like Mike said, stole my thunder, he's a great free throw shooter.
He should essentially basically like try to not the way he acted in college, but he should try to like roll himself after Grayson Allen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Grayson Allen was a good player for us.
He's a big Tyler Hero fan. I know that.
Connor, is he really?
Yeah, he's a big Tyler Hero fan.
Tyler Hero's not a bad guy to be a fan of. I mean, you just see what he just did to the Bucks.
I'll say at least
dropped 30, right? We're pretty close to that.
At least offensively.
It was over 30.
Yeah, he had 35. All right, Jake, I'll let you go first this time because I'll give you a chance to talk before Mike, so Mike's not taking all your notes. What do you have AJ Storr on the impact meter?
Dude, this was – I hate that you made me go first. This was probably the hardest one that I had because you watch this guy's film, and he was a 40% three-point shooter. The guy literally flies through the air like he's walking on it, right? Now, let me go back here because we changed things. So I wrote some things down about him. I told Tyler on another podcast that we were on, I'm not calling him AJ Store. I'm calling him AJ Soar because that guy flies, dude. Just unreal jumping ability. He was a 2023 all freshman team in the Big East. That's a big deal. Big East is a good basketball conference.
Yep.
He was a 3-time Big East freshman of the week. He averaged 8.8 points, 1.9 rebounds, 0.8 assists. He shot 43% from the field and 40% from the three-pointer. So, like I said, this guy can get to the rim. He can fly, jump with the best of them, and he has a good three-point ball. So I don't know how you're going to defend this guy in the Wisconsin offense where Chucky Hepburn is running the point, Stephen Krause picking and popping. Here's one more thing on AJ Store. He started the final 17 games of the season. He upped his average up to 12 points per game. He hit double figures 11 times in those 17 games. So when he got more playing time, he was more efficient. He scored more. So 6'7", 205, dude. I mean, that's great size for an NBA player, right? And we're talking about college, right? So I think AJ Store, he has a chance to make a big impact. I only had him at a 7. I know I'm going to be wrong about this. I just have a feeling I wanted to be safe.
Mike, what do you have AJ Store at?
Yeah, I got 8. I mean, and that's to be determined, right? That's what it's going. That's what I'm going off of. I mean, I think this is what's gonna, help Wisconsin get to the free throw line, help get, better shots. I mean, this is exactly what we need. A guy that can get to the bucket, get to the free throw line, make plays there. Just bringing in a guy who's got a bunch of athleticism to bring, because that is something that we missed last year. I mean, we did shoot a ton of threes, but I think that also had to do with the fact that we didn't have the athletes necessarily. I mean, I think this is honestly the perfect replacement for the type of offense we want to run. I mean, it's already, in practice, guards already been talking about it's been more up tempo in practice as well. They're getting more open rhythm shots, open rhythm threes. So I'm looking forward to this addition as well, because we're going to need AJ Store to have a big year for us if we want to go anywhere. But no, Jake, you broke it all down with the stats. I won't go further on that. Played in the Big East, like you said, that's a great conference. I'm just looking forward to, getting more opportunities for not just him, but for our guys that can hit those outside shots with less duress too. So that's all I'll say on that.
So you guys both brought up the athleticism and the 3-point shooting. I'm a little surprised that neither of you mentioned that AJ Store could be a big piece for the Badgers to actually get some transition baskets. That's something it's been missing from a lot of Wisconsin basketball because of the pace of play they play with. So adding an athletic, quick guy that can just go and dunk on people in transition, I think that is an interesting addition to this Badgers team. AJ Store averaged 1.31 points per possession in transition last year.
That's good.
That's very good. So he also shot 59% on field goals on catch and shoot opportunities and 42% on above the break 3-point shots.
Ooh.
So he's a very, very good 3-point shooter. So I do also have him as an 8, and he's another guy who could really be a 3-level scorer. Yeah. All right, Mike, I'll go back to you for this one to go first. Tyler Wall. What do you have him on the impact meter?
I got a 10. Who you get? Billy Bob from Varsity Blues. A 10.
That movie's awesome.
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't that hard to give Tyler Wall a 10. I mean, going into this year before he decided to commit, Greg Gard told him, not one player in Badger basketball history has won 3 Big Ten titles. You could be the first one to do that. So I think that resonated with him first off. This is a guy who's he's the glue guy, I think, with his team. He's got the toughness. He's obviously got the size. The one stat I do want to bring up, before he went down last year, the Badgers were 11-2, 3-0 in conference before he went down. When he came back, and he was out for the next 3 games, we were 6-9 when he came back. And clearly, we talked about it numerous times in the chat. He was not 100% at all.
No.
So when you're looking at this, I feel like, well, with a healthy Tyler Wall, we're making the NCAA tournament for sure
Oh yeah.
last year, then some perhaps, with playing 6, maybe 7 guys consistently a game. So with the additions, and now we have a healthy Tyler Wall coming back, I obviously got high expectations. But no, that right there, in my view, just tells you how important he is to this team. Obviously got all the experience in the world. There's nothing that's not going to phase him at all. 11 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game. Obviously needs to work on the free throws. We all know that. And it's also been noted in, I guess, numerous practices as of late. He's been starting to shoot the 3 ball a little more. Who knows if that pans out this season? I think he tried a few. He made a couple last year, but it's definitely not his bread and butter. Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to him having another a big year for us. Hopefully he can stay healthy, because I think, we're going to have a great year if he can stay healthy for us. So, yeah, that's the one stat I definitely want to bring up with him. But to me, he's definitely a 10.
Jake, what do you have Tyler Wall as?
I'm as a 9. I only have one player as a 10, but we haven't got to him yet.
Huh.
We haven't got to him.
All right.
So Tyler Wall, obviously, he's a great player. Mike, you brought up the record, before his injury. The thing that I appreciate about Tyler Wall is his feel for the game. He knows when he needs to take over and score. He knows when he needs to pass. He's obviously gives us 100% on defense. He's a great defender for being undersized every once in a while when he has to guard a big guy, right? I love T-Wall. I'm really going to miss him when he leaves, man, because I don't think I appreciated him enough. But he's been a great, great player, and he definitely shows what it means to be a Badger. So that's all I have on T-Wall.
I also, like Mike, I have Tyler Wall as a 10.
Ooh.
We saw the impact that it has on the team. We saw the Badgers struggle mightily when he went down with his injury, and even when he returned and he wasn't himself. You could see his ankle injury affected his footwork, and he just wasn't the healthy Tyler Wall. We've also seen Tyler Wall where he can score like 8, 10, 12, sometimes 14 straight points for the team, and he can take over games that way. So we've seen that from Tyler Wall. So I really have Tyler Wall as a 10. He's going to be extremely important, in my opinion, this year. Jake, I'll go back to you for this one. See if this one is maybe your 10. Steven Crowell.
Good call. 10. Good call. So the reason I have Steven Crowell, I'm marking these down as we get them done here. The reason I have Steven Crowell as a 10, he is the only player on this roster that I believe if he steps his game up to the potential that he's supposed to be, the Badgers will reach new heights. I know what to expect from Chucky Hepburn. I know what to expect from Tyler Wall. I know what to expect from Connor Season, which is why all those guys are 9s on my list. The one guy that's a 10 is a guy that has consistency as a problem. He can have a game where he has 20 points, 10 rebounds, and he plays good low post defense. The next game, he shoots a three-pointer bad. He's playing soft on defense. He's getting bullied down there. It's the Jekyll and Hyde, right? If Steven Crowell becomes a consistent contributor, and I'm talking a guy that plays low post defense every game, talking a guy that grabs 9 to 10 rebounds every game, guy that shoots a three-pointer at a respectable clip. I'm not saying he has to dominate out there. He doesn't have to be Frank Kaminsky Player of the Year, right? But if he steps his game up and becomes consistent, I think the Badgers, sky is the limit.
Mike, what do you have Steven Crowell as?
I love the Jekyll and Hyde comparison, Jake. I really do. I got Big Steve at a 9. We saw glimpses of when he was looking good, right? I mean, you go back to the NIT games against Bradley. I think it was Oregon too. Dude, the guy drops over 30 against Bradley just like nothing. He was hitting everything. We're talking threes, jump shots. So we know he's capable of doing it, right? It's just putting it all together. There was times when he was looking a little bit. Just from the free throw line as well, 63.4%. That's not going to cut it. 30% from 3, which is, for a big man, I guess, take it with a grain of salt. But he had plenty of opportunities with that pick and pop, which is what the Wisconsin offense loves to do. So we definitely need him to be that John Lure from like the 3-point line that can just hit those top of the key, 3-point shots for us going into this year. We're obviously going to need his size against the Purdue's of the world. He's just, if he can just put it all together consistently for us, maybe not get a double-double every game, so to speak, but we definitely need him, to step up his game if we're going to take it, quite a ways this year and potentially get the conference.
So it doesn't have to be that he shoots like 40% from threes, but honestly, even if he goes from 30 to like 33.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly. Just that small increment of an improvement. I'll say I have Steven Kroll as a 9. I'm really looking to see if he put on muscle is really essentially what I'm looking at. I think that's going to be a big part of his defensive ability for this season. And then with Steven Kroll, what I'll say is on a positive note, he had a knack for knocking down the clutch 3. He wasn't making them all game and hitting every 3 that he took, but he had a knack for making, the 1 out of 3 that he made every game for it being the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So not afraid of the moment is I guess what I'll say with Steven Kroll.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what do you have Kamari McGee at as on the impact meter?
So I put a 7, pretty much on these bench players, I guess. But Kamari McGee, as of right now, I'm going to put him the backup point guard to Chucky. I kind of mentioned before, maybe John Blackwell competes for minutes, is what it is. But Kamari McGee, most recently in when the team had the red-white scrimmage, I mean, it was reported that he was the best player, not just for like a half or anything. He was the best player in the whole game. So that's very, very encouraging when you hear that. And when I think of Kamari McGee, he did clutch up a few times last year for us. I think about the home game against Michigan when Chucky was out for a bit. I think about the Marquette game when Chucky got injured and he stepped up. He hit, I think it was 8 points in the second half or end of first, early second. But we're going to definitely need him for a handful of games to get us through some minutes, whether it's for foul trouble or Chucky's just having a bad night. Or whatever. But I mean, it's just another guy who's coming in, who's now got a year of Big Ten experience under his belt, who's going to be, used to playing in that Big Ten environment as well. So, I'm looking forward to the growth for sure. Absolutely. With Kamari.
Jake, what do you have Kamari McGee at?
So we're going to see this year if Chucky Hepburn has that extra gear, but a guy we know has that extra gear is Kamari McGee. That guy is quick. He had kind of an up and down year, had some up and down minutes last year, but you could definitely see a role for him. I have him at a 6 because I'm not really sure how much he's going to play. Like Mike, I was reading Like Mike. That's a good movie. Underrated, by the way.
Yes, it is.
I was reading some stuff on the Badgers basketball team the last couple of days, and John Blackwell's name was coming up quite a bit. So we'll see. Those two seem like they're going to be going head to head this whole season. Kind of who's going to take the role as the backup point guard. But I also read that tweet that Kamari McGee was the best player in the red and white game. So that made me want to put him at like an 8. So I'm like, oh my God, this guy's like dominating our entire team, and I like our roster. So I don't know what to do. But then you think about it, you're like, and the season comes, he's going to be the backup point guard. He's going to be playing 10 minutes a game, and he has a role, and he's pretty good at it. So we'll see what McGee has to offer, but Blackwell's right on his tail, man.
Yeah. And that's the thing is it's going to be not Chucky. After Chucky, it's going to be Kamari McGee and John Blackwell, and it might not be right away. Whereas I agree with Mike that Kamari McGee is going to start the season as the backup point guard, but I think John Blackwell is going to be chomping at his heels, as soon as possible, to be trying to get that backup point guard role. And the thing that he has that Kamari doesn't is a little bit better size.
Yes,
6'4",
yeah.
Yep.
So I do have Kamari as a 6. If he can negate his size by being a pest, like we saw with the red and white game where there was talking about how much like he was constantly in Chucky's pocket trying to get steals, that could be something that gets him on the court more. And then just looking for him to, when he does hit the court, when he's got the chance that makes some impact threes, put him in.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to go first on this one because I've been excited about this player since last fall. So I'm going to go first for Nolan Winter. And he is a freshman, but I already have him as an 8.
Oh my God.
Just wait. It's going to get spicier when we get later.
Oh my God.
I have Nolan Winter as an 8. I've been on the highest on the potential importance out of the three of us. I've been really looking forward to him since last spring, especially when we were defending Greg Gard, of wait until we get these guys in, because we're getting baby Jokic and we're getting the Minnesota Gatorade Player of the Year, Nolan Winter. So he is 6'11". He's actually from the same hometown as Tyler Wall. He has such a smooth looking jump shot.
Yeah.
And it takes no energy for him to shoot it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just wrist and that's it. It's all on the wrist.
Pure.
And exactly. So this is, see if you stick with me here. He said he's already put on 15 pounds since he got to Wisconsin. And I basically see him, if you haven't watched any of his tape, I basically see already as Nate Reavers with better defense.
Yes. I literally have a more polished Nate Reavers. That's what I wrote down.
Yes, all right. I thought that was a good way to put it. Like, Badgers fans, if you know how Nate Reavers played, he was kind of a guy who could score anywhere, and he was tall and thin, which is what Nolan Winter is. But I think Nolan Winter does have a better sense of how to use his body and his length defensively already than Nate Reavers did. So I'm essentially seeing Nolan Winter as a freshman already as what Nate Reavers was when he left Wisconsin, with some better defense and room to grow is the exciting part. So I have more on Nolan Winter later, spoiler alert. But Mike, what do you have Nolan Winter as on the impact meter?
I got him at a 7.5. I mean, it's been clear by Gard he's going to be a part of the rotation. He made that clear starting probably about 2 weeks ago already. When he was in double figures in the red and white scrimmage too, as well as McGee. So that's another thing to point out. He's in the thick of things with the starters, whether that's good, for bad. The fact that he's like doing that already. I mean, I get it. He still might be a little skinny for Big Ten play, so to speak, but we're still going to need him at the end of the day when we're playing, as I said before, when we're playing the Purdue's or teams with more height than us. This is another big body that's going to complement Big Steve, Gilmore as well. And I could even see some lineups where we see Big Steve and Nolan Winter in at the same time. That would not shock me one bit with this squad. But this is another pick and pop guy that can hit those threes for us from the wing, from the top of the key, eventually down the road consistently. I think he's going to be doing that for us. So Tyler definitely hit it on the other points. I said more polished Nate Reavers, another kid from Lakeville North, same high school as Tyler Wall and Nate Reavers as well. So we got quite the pipeline coming from that high school. So that's always good to see.
Jake, what do you got? What do you have for Nolan Winter?
Nolan Winter's going to be wearing number 31 for the Badgers, but he's number 1 in Tyler's heart. I can tell you that right now. He was the number 2 recruit in the state of Minnesota, the 2022-2023 Gatorade Player of the Year, the AP Associated Press Player of the Year, the Max Preps Player of the Year, and the East Metro Player of the Year. If you're getting a picture, this guy's good at basketball. He averaged 23.4 points per game and 11.6 rebounds and shot 64% from the field. That is disgusting, dude. For a guy that shoots a lot of jumpers. And, man, I wanted to point out his jump shot, too. For a guy who's 6'11", that thing, he shoots like a guard, dude. Like, he is naturally a shooter. Yeah. It might be because his dad, Trevor Winter, played for the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and he was on the 1997 Final Four team for Minnesota. His mom played volleyball for Minnesota. So here's where I'm going to dig a little into the parents. Nolan has a 3.9 GPA. In the classroom. So clearly he used that brain and he said, I want to win something. So he came to Wisconsin.
He said it was a coin flip, not pretty much a coin flip between Minnesota and Wisconsin when he made his final decision. So
that's where the no out of state tuition between Wisconsin and Minnesota comes up.
Yep.
Yep.
All right,
That's a good
last
one.
guy, Carter Gilmore. Mike, what do you have him at on the impact meter?
It's another 7.5. It's a 7.5 for me. It's. I mean, well, let's call it how it is. He wasn't the greatest on the offensive side of the ball. I don't want to call him a liability or anything like that, but let's just say he's not going to produce for us on that side, except get potential offensive rebounds. So where he made all of his impact and dirty work on the defensive end, I mean, even if he's 6'8", 6'9", like he was guarding the Zach Edey's of the world at times, or any other 6'10", 7-footer. Like that was his job, especially if Big Steve got in trouble. With in foul trouble, that was his job. So we're going to ask a lot more of him. I mean, it's already been Gardo already brought him up in terms of he's looking forward to seeing some offensive production from him this year and just bringing another year of experience to the table, which at the end of the day, retention is, the key for this year's team, I think, and just bringing all that experience back. But no, I don't think he loses any playing time at all because we are going to need him in some capacity. Instead of like a 7-man rotation, I assume it's going to be 8, but I just don't see him, dropping off in terms of minutes because we're going to need him, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And hopefully if we can get a little bit of offensive production, whether that's even at the free throw line, that's just going to help us even more.
Jake, what do you have for Carter Gilmore?
So Mike got a 7.5 for Nolan Winter. Jake had a 7.5 for Nolan Winter. Mike has a 7.5 for Carter Gilmore. Jake has an 8 for Carter Gilmore. Sorry, we are almost together on this one. But
damn, it's all good.
Carter Gilmore is going to get a little bit more minutes. He kind of got force-fed to, learn how to play Big Ten basketball. And that's not an easy thing to get force-fed because you're going to get elbowed, beat up, pushed to the ground, and you're going to have to guard 7'3" guys that are players of the year. I mean, it's just what you're going to have to do. Sorry. But Carter Gilmore, man, I just respect him for his heart, his hustle. He's kind of like the Pat Connaughton on this Badgers team where, like, every time I watch a Bucks game, like, obviously, now I'm tuning in. I want to see Giannis dunk. I want to watch Dame shoot three-pointers, right? But when Pat Connaughton comes into the game, man, it's just like a different feeling of excitement for me. Because I'm like, is he going to get a bloody nose today? Is he going to get poked in the eye? I don't know what's going to happen to Pat Connaughton, but he's probably going to get beat up. And I feel that way about Carter Gilmore, too.
And he'll
going to give you everything he's got, right?
Right.
So I love Carter Gilmore's effort. That's what I love about him. And I know that's what Guard appreciates, too.
Yeah. So I have Carter Gilmore at a 7. You guys brought up his defense and his hustle. I also want to bring up his rebounding off the bench. It might not seem like a big deal to have 3, 4, or 5 rebounds in a game, but that stuff does matter.
Yeah.
And that's impact that can be made. What I will say is he got a lot better from 2021-2022 season to the 2022-2023 season last year. So my thing with Carter Gilmore is, does he have another jump in him?
Yeah.
We talked about it at times last year where Greg Gard said that Carter Gilmore was the most improved player last season. So does Carter Gilmore have another jump in him like that to make that type of impression of his improvement? And like you guys alluded to, the offensive side of the ball is where he'll have the opportunity to showcase that the most. All right. So that being said, now that we've gone through the top 9 in the rotation and what we think their impact will be on the team, Mike, give me the first of 2 record predictions, one from the head, one from the heart. Give me your record prediction from the head.
So I'm going to throw out a stat for you guys real quick. Greg Gard brought this up, and this is, I think, really, really vital because, we were 20-15 last year, right? So Gard brought up 23 games came down to the last 4 to 5 minutes, right? 13. We went 13-10 on those. 8 of those losses, we had the lead. Okay. Now, that being, we had the lead. Now, this is like I would say the storyline for this team is the free throw line. It is the free throw line for sure. Last season, we were 13th in the Big Ten in free throw attempts. 13th. Okay. We were 11th in free throw percentage. Okay. We were at 14.3 attempts per game.
Jesus.
Guess out of 361 D1 teams, guess where we were?
On attempts or percentage?
This is strictly attempts. Out of 363 teams, where do you think we landed?
350s.
350.
Yeah, that's actually really good. At 345 out of
Ooh,
360.
Wow, that's horrible. I'm not happy I got that right.
345th out of 363.
Yikes.
So, and you look at how many, again, with those close games, look how, like, if we get to the free throw line a few more times, Guard said in a press conference too, his goal is to get to the free throw line 25 attempts per game this year, right? So that's a big jump, obviously. So if we can do that, I think we're gonna, do good things. So with that being said, the key callouts with this season, right? We get Tennessee at home next Friday. We have that 3-game stretch with Marquette, Michigan State, Arizona, back to back to back.
Yeah.
We do get Virginia in the holiday tournament. I don't think they're going to be quite as good, but it is what it is. We do play Michigan State twice, and we play Purdue twice, who are also favorites in this conference. I think this season is absolutely loaded. That being said, we are going to be battle tested come Big Ten play. I think we're going to have a very good year. I have from my head, this is from my head, I have 24-7 overall, 15-5 in the conference. And we're going to be in that top three gap for the conference. That's with my head. Should I say my heart right away?
Let's do the head ones first. Jake,
Okay,
give me your
that's my
record
head.
prediction from the head.
So let's all take a second and appreciate what Mike just did, because that was incredible.
Laid
Great
out
job.
the stats.
That was very well done, Mike. You're becoming a vet. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wrote down their record last year. They were 2015, 9-11 in the conference, 11-6 at home, 6-6 away, and they were 3-3 in neutral sites. So I mean, this team wasn't a bad team at all. I mean, if you change a few things, Mike brought up the free throw shooting, which like really hurts my feelings because I hate when people miss free throws. I'm okay when Giannis misses a free throw because like he's like really, really fucking good at a lot of shit. So if he's bad at one thing, I'm like, okay, at least I know he's not an alien, right?
Yeah.
But when the Badgers' entire team is bad at free throw shooting, that hurts, right? That hurts. With that being said, God damn it, you make me want to change my record so bad, dude. I'm mad I wrote this in pen. Wish it was in pencil so I could erase it. I wrote 20-10. I wrote 20-10 for their record because of all those tough games. I mean, Marquette is number 5, I believe. I mean, Arizona is good. Tennessee's number 9.
Yeah.
Michigan State is always good. Always.
Oh, yeah.
So
they're well coached.
When you have them twice, and I believe Purdue is number 3, and you have them twice, I believe we're the last game of the season for them.
Yep.
They're our last game in Purdue. So that sucks because that's always a tough place to play.
Yeah.
So, with all those games, it's going to be tough. But I agree. We're going to be battle tested going into tourney play, Big Ten tourney, and hopefully NCAA tourney. And if we could take a couple of those games and beat the people who we're supposed to beat, I don't see why not, right?
Yeah. So from the head, I actually have the same record prediction as Jake. I am at 20-10.
Nice.
They face, seriously, an absolute gauntlet in the first 9 days of December. They face 3 top 10 teams in the first 9 days of December.
That is nuts.
That is nuts.
Gotta grow up right away.
Yeah. What's up, Tim? Listening while he's at work. That's dedication right there.
Don't get
All
fired,
right.
please.
Mike, score or your record prediction from the heart.
Yeah, so we literally just talked about it. I mean, you think about like, who we're playing at the beginning of the year. I just think, when it comes down to retention, that's the main word for this year's team. You got 92% of scoring. I just think we're more grown up this year and we're going to be ready to go sooner than later. That's where I'm going with this. I think experience matters, especially in the Big Ten as well. So my heart, I got 20, not too much of a difference, but I got 26-5, 13-3 in the conference, and we're winning. We're winning the conference, or maybe tied for it. So
Oh my God. He's
there's
getting the bold
literally
predictions
zero.
already.
There's literally zero reason why we should be at the top of the conference. I mean, I've stuck to this since the season ended. When you have this much scoring returning and you're basically bringing in another guy who can, get to the bucket and potentially set up better shots for our guys who can shoot the three, like it's noted. I think that's going to set us up for success at the end of the day. So I just think that just brings up a bunch of opportunities for us. So I think there's no reason why we can't be great this year. And I'll get to my bold prediction later on, but yeah, that's my record.
Jake, what's your
Heart.
record prediction from the heart?
Mike is just cooking today. So for me, I put 23-7. I think that we're going to take a couple of those early season tilts. I think that we'd probably take one of the games against Purdue from the heart. And I think that's going to set us up to be ranked in the top 15 in the country at some point. So let's go Badgers.
That's close to mine. From the heart, I have the Badgers at 22-8. Just looking for a couple upsets during the season.
Yep.
I would like one of them to be Michigan State, and get a little revenge on that, because it felt, just I'd like to beat Michigan State. Is my thing.
That's fair. I mean, just like we want to beat Ohio State in football, we want to beat Michigan State in basketball.
True.
They're the team in the conference, right?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Here we go. Spiciest part of our primers. Bold predictions. Mike, hit me with your first bold prediction.
So this is going to be, I say the Badgers are going to have at least one first team all Big Ten player and one all first team defensive player. We're going to have one of each.
Okay. I like it. Jake, what's your first bold prediction?
Mikey, these are supposed to be bold. You want me to show you how it's done?
Sure. Go for it. Yeah.
Tyler Wall and Chucky Hepburn are going to make first team all Big Ten.
Ooh, okay. I like it. My first one is not that spicy, I suppose. My first one is the Badgers sweep November. So they play
I actually like that.
Tennessee, but 5 of their 6 games are at the Kohl Center.
Tyler, I like when I wrote the schedule down, I was going through each one because Marquette's that first game, I think, in December.
Yep.
So yeah, I have W's on all those as well. That's a good call. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, my dad said Final Four.
Yeah, that's a really good one, by the way.
That's what I wrote. That's what I wrote. Yeah, that's my next
second one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Final Four. Like again, the experience factors in to me so much. Look at the Final Four teams that we've put down in years past. What did they have? We had a bunch of experience, especially that 2015 team. Everybody came back. All the scoring came back. Now, is it the talent the same? That's to be decided for this year's team, especially with the addition of AJ Storr. But experience matters, and with Wisconsin being that program development type school, I don't see it might be a bold prediction, but Jesus, I think this is going to be our best shot to get back there. Maybe versus the next couple of years, especially when you got someone like Tyler Wall walking out the door after this year.
That's fair.
All right, Jake, hit me with your second one.
Nolan Winter wins Big Ten 6th Man of the Year.
Oh, all right.
I like that.
I'm going to save my third one as Nolan Winter related, so I'm going to save that one. My second one is that Chucky averages over 5 assists per game. He averaged 2.8 last year, so I'm looking for Chucky to really grow as a distributor this year, and having some better shooters around him, I think, helps him that way. So adding a guy like AJ Storr, I think, is really going to be crucial for Chucky Hepburn, as well as the second year of Connor Essegian, and then guys like Max Klesmit, Nolan Winter, even Gus Buss, to have more shooters around him, I think is going to be really beneficial for Chucky. All right, Mike, hit me with your last bold prediction.
All right, so last year, the Badgers in 3-point, we were 12th in the Big Ten in 3-point percentage. Okay. I think we're top 3 in the Big Ten this year in 3-point percentage.
Ooh.
I just think, like I said, I think we're going to get way more open looks than what we're more accustomed to, especially if, we're looking to be a more up-tempo team, more open rhythm threes, potentially. I just think we're going to have better looks at the 3-ball spot for sure. So, I think we go from 12th in the Big Ten last year to top 3 in 3-point percentage.
All right, Jake, what's your last one?
If you and Tyler, your bold predictions go together, it's going to be a good year. And then that'll help mine that I'm about to say right now is Greg Gard wins his 3rd Big Ten Coach of the Year award.
I like it.
That's
a
how
good
you
one.
top that off. I love that.
All right, so here we go. I'm gonna triple down on what I've already said about Nolan Winter. This is gonna be the spiciest one that I've got. That's gonna happen sometime after New Year's. Nolan Winter is gonna take the starting job from Stephen Crowell.
Oh damn!
Shit. Okay.
Oh damn!
Damn. And just
That's
pure,
really
pure
how
talent,
I feel about
production
Nolan
base.
Winter.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be that good.
Hey, that's fair. I like
Don't
it.
call him. We don't call him lukewarm. We don't call him lukewarm
Yeah.
predictions. We call him bold predictions for a reason.
Hell yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. On that note, are you guys ready to switch to football? Still sticking with the Badgers.
I'm always ready to talk football.
Let's do it.
All right. So here we go. Badgers, they lost to Ohio State, but definitely a lot of encouraging things, I'll say. A lot of building blocks for the Badgers. So I'm going to start with our offensive power pair player. Went with Will Pauling. He had 4 receptions for 51 yards. Did have the Badgers' only touchdown. I'll leave it at that. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the ins and outs of the games in our other segments. But Jake has our defensive power pair player.
Yeah, I went with Injog Meta. Part of the reason I went with Injog Meta is he was kind of on the outs with Fickle and Tressel. He didn't really have a role. 1 week he played like 1 snap, maybe 0 snaps against Purdue on that weird Friday night game, which was still weird. I don't care.
Yeah, that was weird.
I didn't like that. Didn't feel like a game day to me. I haven't had to feel like a game day on a Friday for a long time. So still didn't do it. Yeah, which the field looks a lot cooler, by the way. So thanks for making the field and the basketball court look cool, and they get all these new uniforms and stuff after we leave. So that's awesome. Thanks. But anyways, Injog Meta had 10 tackles, 6 solo, 1 sack, and 2.5 tackles for loss. One of his tackles for loss was negated by a penalty, a stupid bonehead play, by the way. I understand the emotions of the game are high, especially against a big opponent like that at home in a night game. But it's like, man, you cannot do that, especially as a senior. Like, you got to know better, man. But Injog Meta still played great.
Yeah. Mike got to pick our underrated performer this week.
So we could have went a couple ways with this, but I mean, damn, it's so hard not to call him up. But I got Braden Locke as the UP underrated performer.
Yeah.
I mean, just for a freshman, we saw it last week. We saw it even at times against Iowa. The dude's got poise. He makes smart decisions as well. I guess it might not be a completed pass or anything like that, but he makes smart decisions. I wrote down some of his big throws, and man, what do we call third down? We call it the money down, right? I wrote down 4 different occasions. 4 of his throws were on third down. So before halftime, before we got that field goal, he converted a 3rd and 13 to Will Pauling at midfield, which led to a field goal. Okay, that was a big third down play. Then the first drive, he got the 20-yard pass to Bryson Green, the first play of the second half. That was another big one. Granted, that was first down, but the 3rd and 6 on that same drive, he got out for a QB draw for a 20-yard run. And then to cap, great job on him. And then on that same drive, that 3rd and 8, threw a no-look ball, mind you, to Will Pauling. The dude looked like Aaron Rodgers / Matthew Stafford with that no-look, not quite sidearm stuff, but that was a big boy ball. That was a hell of a throw. And when you look at it, like you're looking at it from, east to west or north to south, I guess in this case, that was a tough throw actually to get it to Pauling.
Yeah.
It was very tough.
Dime.
Yeah, like that was one hell of a throw. And then it was more so when we were down 7. This was also in the second half. The Badgers were from their own 3-yard line. It was a 3rd and 15. First play out in quarter 4. He fires a dime to Skylar Bell over the middle to get 16 yards on your own 3-yard line. Down 7, or no, not quite down 7, I don't think, but no, you're in like the thick of things, man. And if you can do that, completes a 15, 16-yard pass to Bell to get out of, the shit zone or whatever, that's just a guy with poise. And we've seen it, against a couple plays against Iowa. We saw it against Illinois in his first start, and we saw it again against Ohio State. He's going to put it together. I have a lot of faith in this guy, but he just keeps showing those moments of like being more polished than some of these other Wisconsin quarterbacks that we've had in the past that have made their first couple starts. So looking forward to seeing him perform even more as the games go on.
Let me add something in real quick about Locke, since we're on the topic. What a shit 3 games to like get into action, right?
Yeah.
You're thrown in against Iowa, who has one of the best defenses in the Big Ten in the country almost every single year.
Yep.
And they're physical. They come at you, and you're just thrown into the fire. Your first start is at Illinois, and they're playing with attitude because they don't want to be treated like little brother no more. And then your first start at home is a night game against a number 3 team with probably the best defense in the country.
Yeah.
What a shit 3 games to get thrown into. Like, kudos to Braden Locke. And any Badgers fan that says anything bad about Braden Locke these last 3 games, you don't know what you're talking about.
Probably crying about his completion percentage like they did with Jordan Love.
But you know what? These next couple of games, we're going to be playing some lesser opponents. Still Big Ten play.
Yep.
Still some
winnable games.
But lesser defenses, not Ohio State's, not Iowa's. Yeah. So Braden Locke, the no-look thing really gave me a lot of confidence that I did not need. But we're going to see some shit from Braden Locke, dude.
So, Mike, in the Ohio State game, what did you see from the offense that improved?
So I kind of touched base on it last week. We're seeing other, I'm going to call it receivers specifically. We saw like other receivers improve in previous games because you take a guy like Chimere DK who was out, the second half and even prior, to that or whatever. But Bryson Green actually, he only had 2 catches. I get that, but they were two very crucial catches. I mean, first play, second half is what started that drive. It was a 25-yard catch from Braden Locke that set us up on that touchdown drive. And then he had in the fourth quarter, he had another 15 to 20-yard catch, which kept the drive going for us. He did unfortunately I think the Badgers got robbed on his 3rd attempt with the pass interference call because the defender not only grabbed him, but he also hit him in the face mask before he went down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did.
So I just wanted to call him out because he is definitely making an impact. He's starting to make an impact for us now. And if DK can't go Saturday, I think we're going to see a lot more of him. Besides, the Will Paulings of the world, the Skylar Bills, I think it's going to be his turn to, step up because we have been asking for him to step up at some point, right? But I think slowly but surely he's getting there.
Can we get him in the end zone, please? Please, can we get him in the end zone?
Yes.
That could be this weekend.
I think that's going to be the thing that kind of takes the top off for him and get him to relax a little bit, is getting him in the end zone.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, what improved on the offensive side of the ball for you?
I have carpal tunnel now, just so everybody knows. But pass blocking. So when I say these numbers, I'm going off averages, and I want everybody to take that into consideration and the opponent into consideration, because Ohio State's offense and defense is always littered with 1st and 2nd round picks that go to the NFL. So please take that into consideration when you're listening to this. So I wrote down 6 linemen's numbers, and I wrote down the sacks, the hits, the hurries, and the pressures. We gave up 1 sack, 2 hits, we gave up 8 hurries, and we gave up 11 pressures. So those numbers can be skewed a little bit because of the freshman quarterback. A pressure can be because of the freshman holding onto the ball a little bit. The hurries obviously are just the line. A sack, a hit could be from the quarterback holding the ball too long, or just, a broken play. So I want you to take those numbers into consideration. Now, on average, we give up 0.7 sacks per game, 1.75 hits, 5.25 hurries, and 7.8 pressures. So I wrote down the totals, and I'm not going to lie to you. Some of these were making me kind of pissed off. I was like, y'all got to step it up, okay? We talk about being O-line U. Talk about these gigantic humans walking out of corn mazes and slapping a W on the side of their head. Y'all got to be better, okay? We've given up 6 sacks total. The leader in sacks given up is Nelson with 3. We've given up 14 quarterback hits. There's 2 people tied for the lead with that, with 3. That's Nelson and Malman. We've given up 42 hurries. Furtney is the leader in that with 9. And we've given up 63 quarterback pressures. I'm going to read everybody's quarterback pressures because they're all just inexcusable. Bordolini, 9. Weddage, 7. Joe Huber, 10. Malman, 12. Nelson, 13. Furtney, 12. 63 quarterback pressures. That is absolutely unacceptable. And then you wonder why we can't run the ball. You know, on top, people aren't scared of us passing. They're coming right at us. The O-line has to be better. I think they were a little bit better against Ohio State. Now, again, Ohio State is just littered with 5-star guys that go straight to the NFL, right? These guys aren't worried about going to school. I don't care what anybody says. Okay? I really don't. I know that Ohio State's, has a good reputation, for school and stuff like that, but these guys are not worried. These 5-star guys, they don't go to Ohio State so they can sit in fucking calculus, okay? They go to Ohio State because they're going to play there for 3 years, then they're going to go to the NFL and sign a big old check. I'm calling it like I see it. The offensive line was better, but there is still definitely room to improve.
So for me, and I'm going to go back to Braden Locke, I'm going to say Braden Locke's touch. And he is a freshman, and this is his second career start. First career start at home. But he looked a little bit less jittery, and he delivered some very, very nice passes in this game. We saw the one that he delivered to Skylar Bell in the Illinois game, but he made some really good passes. And I think without some of the plays that Jake's going to talk about in a little bit, and some of the drops, his stat line would have looked better as well. But just where he's putting the ball, his ball placement, I think was better as far as Braden Locke is concerned. So, Mike, on the offense, what do you think needs to improve from the Ohio State game going forward?
Man, I keep harping on this, but it needs to be said, and this is something that's kind of on the coaching staff too, and I will explain. But we got to play clean. We have to play clean ball. I mean, we stop them first possession Ohio State, we get the ball. What do? We fumble it, right? So that's just part of it. Then we give up a field goal, right? It's just, and then we had a second fumble. We had, what was it? I wrote this all down. We had missed blocks. I called it out in the chat numerous times. The biggest missed block call out on my end was when that 3rd and goal play, when we did the pitch to Braylon. Huber pulled, but what happened was he tripped over Furtney's back right foot is what it was. And then the play ended up getting blown up. So I was watching that right before we started. And Huber was pulling, but he tripped over Furtney's back right foot. And Braylon, unfortunately, didn't get in the end zone, but there was multiple times when there were missed blocks. We had, and the biggest call, I'm sorry, I got another one. It was the delay of game penalty on 3rd and 5, which led to that ridiculous 54-yard field goal. And I say coaching needs to, we need to do better on that. Fickle even said it after the game. It was his fault. He should have called the timeout. But there was a couple, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We talked about it on that delay of game. Tanner should have snapped it when it was a potential offsides.
Yep.
And so that's number one. Number two, obviously, Braden's got to watch the play clock.
Yep.
Number three, I mean, Luke Fickle said, he should have called a timeout in that situation. Could have regrouped. Could have put us in a better position. Instead, Nathaniel Vakos doesn't hit, but kicks a 54-yard field goal, which had the distance, I think, but unfortunately didn't go in that 35 degree weather. So you're almost kicking like a damn icicle from that range, and you don't know where it's going. So we just got to clean things up, man. And I'm hoping at one of these next 4 games we can at least play clean. Don't shoot ourselves in the foot. We've done it at least a couple times every single game, I think, this year. That's fair to say. So it's something that has to, get better as soon as possible. So,
Jake, what needs to improve for you offensively?
What needs to improve to me is something that needs to improve for these wide receivers. Something that needs to improve for Braden Locke to be successful is drops. Good God,
help your brother out,
dude. between Saturday and Sunday, I could pull every single hair out of my head. I am just so sick and tired of wrong routes ran, guys not running correctly, like not knowing what play, dropping the damn ball. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh, God. I don't even, like, the passion that I used to yell at my TV for because I expected to win is getting beat out of me, to be completely honest with you, with every single drop that both teams have. And I'm just gonna chalk it up to new offenses for one team, inexperience for the other team, and I'm just gonna take the L and I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna enjoy sports. But I'm gonna get to the bottom of this real quick. So Will Pauling had 8 targets, 3 receptions, 48 yards, a sick touchdown catch, but he had a drop. That is 3 straight games with a drop, 4 of the last 5 games with a drop. DK, 1 target, 0 receptions, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 drop. He got 1 target, he dropped it. Then he left the game with injury, sadly. Bryson Green, 8 targets, 3 receptions, 49 yards, 0 drops. Bryson Green was good. Skylar Bell, 8 targets, 4 receptions, 26 yards, 2 drops. CJ Williams, 3 targets, 1 reception, 7 yards, 1 drop. 5 drops against Ohio State. If you want to beat Ohio State, you don't drop the ball. You don't fumble the damn thing. You don't drop the ball when it's thrown to you. You don't miss tackles. Oh, my God, I was so pissed off.
Wasn't it? I know at least one of Skylar Bell's was a ball that he caught, but bobbled it and ended up being out of bounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Braden Locke was 18 of 39. People are literally going to cry about the completion percentage. What they fail to realize is if these drops don't happen, yes, that makes his completion percentage better. No, it doesn't make it outstanding. But the events that happen after those plays that could be caught could lead to a substantially better completion percentage, right? Because then you might run a play after that plays off that. This play might set up this play. That's how football works, is you use stuff to set other plays up. These drops have to stop, dude. Like, point blank, period. And Skylar Bell, if you're going to get in the damn game, and he's been a big-time playmaker for us out of the slot. The slot receiver is clearly dominating the Badgers' offense right now.
Yeah.
Between Will Pauling and Skylar Bell. If you're going to get in the game, you're going to be a game changer. Hang on to the damn ball. That's all I got.
So mine isn't so much something that wasn't done well that needs to improve. It's just going to be something that's coming from a situational deficiency. And this is related to Braylon Allen missing the second half of this game. So for me, what needs to improve is the run game. Now, like I said, this isn't to say that there's anything wrong, but it showed at times in the second half without Braylon Allen, the run game needs some help. And whether it be getting some more guys involved or Phil Longo needing to be a little more creative. So this kind of goes to what I said 2 weeks ago, where I think the Badgers could end up passing more. We don't really know a whole lot about Braylon Allen's availability for Saturday. He didn't practice yesterday. I know that, and that's about it. So we're going to have to keep an eye on Braylon Allen's health. If Braylon Allen is not healthy, Phil Longo, like I said, is going to have to get creative on how to use the run game, and maybe we'll see a couple Will Pauling and Vinny Anthony end arounds to see if they can get the run game going that way a little bit, or just some more like wide receiver screens, or maybe Riley Nowakowski getting more involved at the tight end position. It's going to be all hands on deck for the Badgers offense if Braylon Allen isn't healthy.
I would love to see more Will Pauling in the backfield. Kind
Yeah.
of Percy Harvin-ish. He kind of reminds me a little of Percy Harvin. Lights went out when I said that, huh? That was too electric for you. I would say
out or what?
Oh no, we're good. I just had to
Will Pauling in the backfield with Skylar Bell, who clearly can be a playmaker from that slot position, as I said. I think that could be something that could be electric. You know, put Will Pauling in the backfield with Braylon Allen. Now you have the threat of a run or a screen pass or any type of pass, because both of them can catch the ball.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike, on the defensive side of the ball, what did you see that improved?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like pressures and sacks, right? I mean, the pressure part of it, ended up getting multiple intentional grounding calls. I can't think of a game this year that we had that happen to playing anybody. Multiple, like not just one, but like two or three multiple intentional grounding calls. One of
Good
which
call.
I thought should have been a fumble. Actually, McCord got bailed out on, but instead it was intentional grounding. And we had four sacks as well, and it was evenly distributed too. So, yeah, and I wanted to bring that up because it was against Ohio State. It's against a great team, but when you do something such as getting the Ohio State quarterback to go and get multiple intentional grounding calls, I think that's something that needs to be said. So, we definitely did a better job in that part of it, so to speak.
Jake, what about you? What got better on the defense?
So outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., who is the best college football player in the country,
Future
the
Green
red
Bay
zone
Packer.
defense, future Green Bay Packer, the red zone defense was phenomenal, in my opinion. The first time they got in there, they had 1st and 10 at 17, incomplete pass. They had 2nd and 10 at 17. Xavier Johnson run for 6. They had a 3rd and 4 at the 11. Trip Trianum ran for 2 yards to get to the 9. They kicked the field goal. So the defense held up there. Bend, don't break, right? The second one, they had a 1st and 5 at the 19, and offsides got them to a 1st and 5. So they passed the ball again on 1st and 5, incomplete pass. They had a 2nd and 5, 4-yard run by Henderson. This is where the unsportsmanlike conduct came in, and it was like, we got them to 3rd and 1. Well, then, obviously they get the first down with the unsportsmanlike. Interception happens right after that. And that was
Real pie as always. Preston Zachman a beer for that.
A case. No. Up that to a case, man. Like
he
we got
yeah.
a case. We got so lucky. A case of Keystone. Call it good.
Yeah, that play kept us in the game single-handedly. I'll say that. After that, their third possession, they had 1st and 10 at the 20. Trying them again for a 4-yard run, and then 2nd and 6, touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. He's really good. So
he's good.
The second one, they had 1st and 10 at 17. Henderson for a loss of 2, so the run defense showed up again. Then 2nd and 12 from the 19, another touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison Jr., who just was cooking in the second half of this game. So he's just a monster. So really, outside of the extraordinary of Marvin Harrison Jr., the red zone defense was pretty damn good. They stood tall.
For me, it was the turnovers. It jumps off the page. The 2 interceptions and the fumble on the strip sack. The defense, I think they played better than the final score suggests. And they only allowed 4 more points to Ohio State than Penn State did, and they're a top 10 team.
Hey, facts.
So for me, it was the turnovers. Mike, going forward from Ohio State, what needs to improve still?
So we did bring this up last week as well, but it definitely needs to be said. The defense, they played one hell of a game. I'm just going to make that clear. I think, they put us in a great position to win. Let's just get that straight. With that being said, I do think our run defense still needs a lot of work, unfortunately. The big runs, and it was more so in the second half, I think primarily. There was just some big runs that Travion Henderson got in which we lost containment. I was a little disappointed, just watching it over again that, guys like Daryl Peterson lost containment multiple times. CJ Getz did once or twice.
Yeah.
It seemed like, a lot of those big time runs by Travion Henderson specifically, we lost containment on. So that goes back to, being disciplined on that side, being more disciplined on that side of the ball and just not get sucked in. If you have to, force them in, right? So, that's just something that needs to improve. And, time and time again, we brought it up, but, going forward, we definitely need to stress that against, teams like Minnesota that love to run the ball just as much as Wisconsin does, to be quite honest. But it's definitely something that we need to monitor, I think, going forward, because I think it's definitely a glaring weakness with this defense ultimately is the run D. So we got to improve on that.
Jake, for you, what needs to improve on the defense?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that I was right about that run game for Ohio State. It's just so much different when Henderson's in there, man. Yeah. You saw it when anybody else was in there. the Badgers were phenomenal against the run, man. They were really locking that down. But Henderson in there, he was taking out big chunks, especially that last touchdown, which obviously put the game away. But what needs to improve is tackling. That could help the run defense. In total, we had 35 tackles, 15 assists, and we had 8 misses. That's a lot. One from CJ Getz, one from Austin Brown, one from Fourqueen, one from Rodis Johnson, 2 from Njagmeta, and 2 from Hunter Wooler. Hunter Wooler didn't make as much of an impact as I thought he would, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I thought he would have been a little bit better. I thought he would have liked to bang a little bit more with Henderson, but teach their own. But the defense, you can't be missing 8 tackles. That's you're dropping 5 passes, you're giving up 11 pressures, and you're missing 8 tackles. That's how you lose a home game to a top 3 team.
Yeah. For me, and this kind of goes to the coordinator again as well, but for me, it's the matchups. I believe that Ricardo Hallman has done enough, more than enough, to deserve the opportunity to shadow the opposing team's best wide receiver. And Jake and Mike overruled me on the defensive power pair being Muma and Njagmeta. I stand that it should have been Ricardo Hallman, because Ricardo Hallman, when guarding Marvin Harrison Jr., was targeted 4 times. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 1 catch for 16 yards. Ricardo Hallman also had an interception. So in 4 times that Marvin Harrison Jr. was guarded by Ricardo Hallman, they had the same number of receptions.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Stop trying my guy Ricardo Hallman, because he also broke up a pass. So looking at strictly the head-to-head of Ricardo Hallman and Marvin Harrison Jr., I think Ricardo Hallman was the better of the 2. Strictly in their head-to-head. Overall, Marvin Harrison Jr. had a fantastic game because he took advantage of the rest of the Badgers secondary. Unfortunately, Fourqueen got picked on quite a bit, but Ricardo Hallman won this matchup between the 2 of them.
Can we get him for 2 more years?
Man, maybe not.
Maybe one. Yeah.
Maybe not. He said.
We're gonna have to get him. We're gonna have to get him back on the show and convince him otherwise. But
yeah.
Do not sign for millions of dollars.
Yeah,
not yet. Get that all of that NIL money.
Yeah. Right. So for me, it's Ricardo Hallman has earned the opportunity to shadow the opposing team's best wide receiver to continue to show that he is what he's put on tape. All right, going forward, the Badgers are going to beat Indiana this weekend. Mike, what are you looking for from the Badgers offense against Indiana?
It's going to be a great opportunity for Braden Locke to cook. That's one of I'll talk about that later. Sure. But case in point, especially, we do not know, as you said, Tyler, we don't know the status report of Braylon. We don't know the status report of DK, but we still got other receivers that can contribute. But Braylon's the main guy, of course, that, the reason why I brought up Braden Locke. But it's going to be an opportunity because we harped on it before. He played against Iowa, Illinois, and Ohio State. Yep. Now we got 4 games, 4 very, very winnable games where I think he's going to get plenty of opportunities to absolutely, let it rip. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Maybe not against a top 3 team in the country, but those mediocre Big Ten teams, and just seeing what else can be brought to the table.
I agree. So I'm going to jump in here on the Wisconsin offense.
I'm just going to see if I can find anything about Braylon Allen, so go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. So the Wisconsin versus the Indiana defense. Indiana is a combination of inexperienced and just not very good, in my opinion. They're 2-6. So their last win was versus Akron. They beat Akron 29-27 in 4 overtimes. They scored 29 points in 4 overtimes versus Akron, dude.
Damn MAC schools.
Since then, they have 4 losses. They lost to Maryland, 44-17. They lost to Michigan. Michigan's good, number 2 in the country, 52-7. They lost to Rutgers, a team that Wisconsin already beat, 31-14, and then they lost a close one by 9 points to Penn State, 33-24. So in total, they've given up 160 points in the last 4 games. That's an average of 40 points per game.
Sheesh.
They've also scored 62 points in the last 4 games. That's an average of 15.5 points per game.
Nice.
I like our chances. I'm just going to leave it at that. But they have a ball hawking cornerback duo, I'm going to call them. Lewis Moore, he's a senior. He has 38 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, and a pass defense. And they have Philip Dunham. He's a sophomore. 31 solo tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 passes defense. Those two combined have 5 of the team's 7 interceptions. So Braden Locke is going to avoid, like he did last week against Ohio State, throwing an interception. He's going to have to watch out for these two because they're definitely looking to make a difference on the game. So that's what I got on Wisconsin versus Indiana defense, man.
Yeah, there's nothing updating about Braylon Allen. There's nothing out there. So it's going to be something we'll have to keep an eye on as the rest of the week goes on. For me, Braylon Allen missed the second half of last week's game, and he still leads the Big Ten in rushing.
That is insane.
The Badgers need him healthy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Other than that, Indiana averages 1.7 sacks per game and only 5.61 sack percentage. So I think the Badgers will have a good opportunity to keep Braden Locke upright. So that's what I'm looking for from the offense specifically. Mike, what are you looking for from the Badgers defense?
So it was kind of I was going back and forth with this because Indiana, they passed for 260. Sorsby, he passed for 269 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, right? One of those plays was like on like a 95-yard scamper for a touchdown. But the one thing I did want to call out, Indiana did run for 122 yards last week minus the sacks that were were given or taken or whatever. 122 yards. I honestly think they're going to try and do everything that they can to establish a run against us, for obvious reasons that I just brought up before.
Yep.
So that's what I'm looking at. So it's just another week, another opportunity for us to stop the run. And mind you, Penn State was only giving up 75 yards a game rushing going into that game. So the fact that they were able to still do that, that definitely sticks out to me quite a bit. So that was the one big call out. I think they're going to try and establish a run on us, and they're not going to throw it to Rico Island, so to speak. So, we got to stop the run first and foremost against these folks.
Let me just throw this out there.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say, and there's also a little uncertainty on this offense. Coach Allen, he just brought in a new offensive coordinator about a month and a half ago, Rod Carey, and not to mention you also got your backup quarterback playing too. So definitely not the greatest year for Indiana. I believe we've won the 14 out of the last 15 matchups as well against these guys, with the one loss being back in the COVID year in 2020. So, see what we can do.
I'll throw this out there on the subject of the rushing yards against Penn State. Was a wallop. So I will say I do think it's possible that Penn State, I don't know this because I didn't watch the game, but I think it's possible Penn State was playing for the pass a little bit more, which was allowing Indiana to maybe rack up some rushing yards because they were facing lighter boxes. Again, I don't know this for a fact because I didn't watch the game, but just something I would throw out there as a potential possibility. Just that, not that I don't think Indiana's capable of it, but not that they're just out here just putting up big rushing yards on top 10 teams. Jake, what are you looking for from the Badgers defense?
I'm looking for them to continue the trend of getting turnovers. And the thing that I'm looking at is, Mike brought it up because I was trying to do my research to sound like Mike this week. They have a new offensive coordinator. So I found that out doing my research. And they have 2 freshman quarterbacks that have taken most of their snaps. So you have some inexperience on the play calling side, some inexperience on the execution side. So I'm really looking for the Badgers defense to kind of take advantage of that. The rush yards thing against Penn State, it's an anomaly. That's the way I'm looking at it. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against the Badgers. I think the Badgers are going to get an earful about the rush defense that gave up a lot of yards, missing tackles. And to Mike's point about playing a clean game, I'm just looking for the Badgers to play a clean game on the defensive side. Give Locke the football. Let him figure it out on the fly. I think we'll be okay.
All right, for me, looking at it, this is kind of touched on a little bit, but Indiana has the second lowest points per game in the Big Ten. 18.6 a game. Wisconsin allows 19. Indiana's leading rusher is 19th in the conference. And though Brendan Sorsby, he has 6 touchdowns in 6 games, in 5 of the 6 games that he has played in, he has not exceeded 19 passing attempts.
Oh, shit. That's a good stat.
Yeah.
He does have 3 straight games over 10 rushing attempts, however.
Okay.
So that could be a factor. This could actually end up being somewhat of a similar game towards Rutgers, where their quarterback does have a little bit of running ability, but just isn't always looking for it, which is going to tie into some of my other stuff when we get into some of the other segments. So, Jake, how does the weather look?
Weather looks really good. Better than Wisconsin, I'll tell you that much. So, now, mind you, when people listen to this weather report, remember, it's a weather report. I don't have to be right about this, okay? Because they're not right about this.
Well,
this is just what I'm reading.
3
what
days
I'm reading
away,
is 63 degrees, partly sunny, wind southwest at 9 miles per hour. It's a calm day, man. I would love one of those days again. Just give me one.
Look at it.
Sounds like a 300-yard day for Braden Locke.
Hell yeah.
All right, Mike, what's the matchup you're watching?
I said it earlier. It's Braden Locke versus this secondary. I think, like I said, it's going to be an opportunity for him to. We're going to see. He's going to be able to cook. He's going to have the opportunity to cook. Let the dude cook. I think he's going to go. I think he's going to throw for 300 yards. I think that's what's going to happen.
Ooh.
Even if Braylon Allen does play, he's not 100%. I just think we're going to see a lot more opportunities, and we're going to see, against a less than impressive Big Ten team, we're going to get all the opportunities in the world. I'm looking forward to seeing what Braden Locke can do.
I like it. 2 weeks ago, I was saying the same things, and I was wrong. But if Braylon Allen looks, I don't know. We'll see. Jake, what's your matchup?
I have Braylon Allen versus their number 1 linebacker, probably their number 1 defensive player, Aaron Casey. Aaron Casey on the year has 69 total tackles.
Nice.
47 solo, 22 assists, 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 2 passes defense. This guy's all over the field, man. When you're looking at just purely numbers, I haven't watched any Indiana games. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I don't wake up on Saturday morning and be like, let's go Hoosiers.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch Indiana.
Yeah. Or that overrated basketball team. Sorry, go ahead.
They are. But, this is just going to be a banger. We obviously know that Braylon Allen is very important to this offense. And, you find out a lot about a guy when they're hobbling and they're hurting and, everything hurts on their body when they get tackled, when they walk normally. We found out a lot about Braylon Allen. So we're going to see what he's got.
For me, I'm the only one that has the Badgers defense matchup. I'm looking for the Badgers middle linebackers, mainly Jake Chaney and Muma Njongmeta versus Brendan Sorsby. He does have 3 games over 4.5 yards per carry.
Oh.
Okay.
Interesting.
And I'm going to tie that right into my key of the game, which is going to be stop the run and trust your secondary. So this is where this ties. I'm bringing it all together now where I'm saying the matchups, you trust your secondary. Ricardo Hallman is proven to be a stud this season. And we know that the run defense needs some work. We know that Indiana's quarterback has a little bit of running ability. Put an extra guy in the box. Stop the run. Trust your secondary. That's my key to the game. Mike, what's your key to the game?
I'll keep harping on because I brought up the rushing yards before, but I think keep Braden Locke on 2 feet. Keep him on his 2 feet, right? Jake brought up the humiliating stat with all those QB pressures and hurries. We got to put an end to that as soon as possible, starting this Saturday. So give my man Braden a clean pocket. We've seen the poise already against 3 of the tougher defenses for sure in the Big Ten, 2 of those 3 for sure in the country. So just keep my man on his 2 feet and just let the dude cook. Simple as that.
Jake, what's your key to the game?
All right. This is a good one, so I hope you guys like this. Put in a lot of work for this one. Had to do some math and stuff. Didn't like it. My key to the game is extending drives. In games that we won, the Badgers' third downs, they were 38 of 75. That is a 50.6%. In games that they lost, they were 14 of 47. That is a 29% third down percentage.
Ooh.
The Badgers, plain and simple, have to extend drives, pick up the money down, and that starts with the offensive line. You guys have to freaking dominate. No more of this pressure bullshit. No more of this quarterback hit bullshit. It's time to act like you're 330 pounds. Got it? That's what I would say if I was in their face. And then I would treat them like, who is that defensive tackle from the Jaguars? Remember that video where he said, slap me, wham, wham. And the coach is literally like 5'9", but he's putting all 5'9" into those slaps, man, just giving it to him. That's what I would say to those linemen. It's time to act like you're 330 pounds and slap them all in the face. Piss them off a little bit.
All right, Mike, give me your score prediction from the head.
I got to give one more special teams call out. We need to go a game without kicking the ball out of bounds. Oh,
All right.
my God.
I'm
That
here
was
for
like,
it.
we just gave Ohio State the ball at the 35 to start. We've done it numerous times, throughout the season. So I'm just throwing that out there real quick. So I'm going to go off of if Braylon and DK are healthy and are playing. That's what I did this off of. From the head, I did 27-17 Badgers.
Okay. What do you got,
Jake,
Tyler?
what about you?
You
All right,
go
I'll go.
next.
Mine's not far off.
Okay.
I have 24-13. A little bit lower.
Wow. So I was looking at their previous 4 losses, and I'm looking at the trajectory of this Badgers offense. And, I'm going to give an update on these scores here. But I'm always a little bit above you guys. I think Wisconsin's dominating on Saturday. We're going to wake up. It's going to be 11 a.m. start. We're going to start our Saturday off with a 36-17 Wisconsin Badgers victory.
I like it.
You couldn't just go the extra 2 points and give them the true Wisconsin 38-17?
I know. I thought about it, but I was like, we're probably going to get a couple field goals.
All right, Mike, what's your record prediction from the heart?
Yeah, we cover the spread. It's down to 9 now, too, by the way. But anyway, I got 33-14. I just think if we can keep our guys protected, we're just going to have those opportunities and plenty of time to throw the ball. Stars got to line at some point. Fickle said we need to be playing our best ball at the end of the year. It's going to the last half. It's going to be a great opportunity to get receivers specifically more confident as well. With all the drops that we've had this year, I think this is one of those games where we could really bounce back and just cook and get 33 points and get ourselves a big win on the road.
Like it.
All right, Jake, what about you from the heart?
My prediction from the heart is 34-13. I don't see any way that the Indiana Hoosiers really challenge the Badgers defense.
All right, from the heart, I have 27-9. This is the Badgers keeping Indiana out of the end zone completely, holding them only to 3 field goals.
I like it. Bold.
I like it.
All right, Mike, thanks for joining us. Talk about Badgers as always. I'm sure we'll have you back next week. We only have one Badger basketball game, but we will also have a Badger football game next week. Other than that, thanks for joining us for the primer. That was definitely some good content in there, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Go Badgers, big game against UW-Stevens Point tonight. So gonna get some feedback. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the biggest game of the year tonight.
Yes. Opening night next Monday against Arkansas State. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a great year. Get us back in the NCAA tournament and make a Final Four run, just like that bold prediction. So, let's get her done, boys. On Wisconsin. Have a good night.
All righty. See you next week, Mike.
Later, buddy.
Later.
All right. So Jake and I have one segment left. We have 3 Milwaukee Bucks games. First, Jake, give me your power pair and your underrated performer, and then we will rattle these 3 games off and conclude an action-packed episode.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about the Bucks. We're gonna slide you right into the pregame show. for Bally Sports Wisconsin, and then we're just gonna go on with the rest of our night watching Bucks basketball. So today,
Sounds
after we
lovely.
got out of work, oh my God, what a fantastic day after we got out of our shitty jobs, right?
Sounds perfect.
So power pair. I feel like we're gonna be doing this a lot. We're gonna be trading power pair, at least 2 guys.
Yep.
So this week, in the first week of the season, I ended up with Giannis Antetokounmpo, 27.3 points per game, 10 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.7 blocks, 1 steal, and he shot 55.4% field goal percentage. But he can't make free throws. I don't give a shit. He does everything else good. Okay. My next
We'll talk
guy.
about free throws too. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, we will. We will. My next guy. Oh my God. If Giannis was literally not a person, bar none, my favorite player on the team, Bobby freaking Portis, dude. And I don't know why, but we always walk around the house, you know, when Bobby gets like a big bucket like he did last night, and you know he shows the face. Oh, I mean Monday night. He shows the face. It's like Big Bobby, and then me and my son are just saying Big Bobby for the next hour for no reason at all. But just a little story time. Big Bobby, 12.7 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 0.7 blocks and steals, and he's shooting 60% from the field. He hasn't made a 3-pointer yet, but the touch will get there. He's too good of a shooter to not make a 3.
Yeah.
My underrated performer, Jay Crowder, dude. I feel like this is the guy that's going to be the underrated performer of the year.
Great pick.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're on board with that. And I know that if I didn't take him, you would have taken him because he was just bar none the most underrated player.
Yep.
6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 0.7 blocks, 1 steal. He shot 46.7% from the field. The thing about Jay Crowder that I appreciated this week, and we're going to get into more, is his decision-making was fantastic.
Yeah, love the Jay Crowder pick for the underrated performer. As for the power pair, the other guy you're talking about, it's Damian Lillard. He did have one game where he struggled, but you look at his career, he has basically one game like that a year. So just get it out of the way right away. But over the last week, he averaged 23.3 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. The thing with Damian Lillard that really catapults him into this power pair is his 93% free throw shooting.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that in the individual games. But my other power pair player, I went with Brook Lopez. He averaged 12.3 points and 4 rebounds last week. Unselfish on the rebounds, as always. He's really unselfish about letting the ball bounce so that a guy like Giannis or Dame or even Pat Connaughton can grab a rebound and start the offense. That's a really underrated part of Brook Lopez's game, even though we have been talking about it feels like, for 3 seasons.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Other than that, he was also 46.2% on threes. And in my opinion, he was the Bucks' best offensive player in the first half against the Hawks.
Easily. Bobby was pretty good.
I think first half, it still was Brook. I think he had like 12 of his 15 in the first half.
I mean, they were both good. But, I mean, Brook had 7, was responsible for 7 of the first 9. But when you watch the highlights, he's unplayable. Right, Tyler?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
It simultaneously does and doesn't surprise me how volatile the approval of Wisconsin sports fans sways.
Bro, it's just unreal. It's just unreal, dude.
People seriously need to watch our show more. Like,
yeah, and I'm not trying to toot our horn either, but like, it is honestly ridiculous that you are 3 games into a season, right? And they want to talk about, a team that's won a championship needs time to grow together. Yeah, dude, it's an entirely new offense. It's an entirely new defense. We just got a brand new superstar player. Like, did you not watch the NBA for the last 10 years? When superstars get together, they're used to playing a certain way.
Yep.
Now they're like, wow, this guy's really good at this, so I can't just go do this. They're going to need time to mesh, dude.
Giannis and Damian Lillard have never played with a player as good as Giannis or Damian Lillard.
Yeah, so it's going to take time. And that's not even like disrespectful to Chris Middleton when he's on fire. That's not even disrespectful to to Drew Holiday when Drew Holiday's on his
No.
best day.
They've both been to a few All-Star games. Damian Lillard is like 7-time All-Star.
He's a top 75 player ever. Like 75 out of thousands of players that have played in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's one of them. Like
Yeah.
he's fucking good.
Yeah. All right. So my underrated performer is the aforementioned Chris Middleton. He played 2 games out of the 3. He played 16 minutes and 17 minutes. He had 4 assists and 5 assists. Both of those led the team against Philadelphia and Miami. And he also averaged 1.5 steals over those 2 games.
Yeah, he's going to fit into his role absolutely seamlessly.
Dude,
and
I don't think Chris Middleton gets enough credit for getting steals.
No, he doesn't. He also doesn't get enough credit for his playmaking. But that's
100%.
We're used to that.
Oh, people complain because he has a couple turnovers a game because he handles the ball a lot, and he's not a flashy dribbler, but he's not this horrible ball handler that people make him out to be either, just because he has a couple bad turnovers a game.
Well, if those same people are going to point out Chris Middleton, then I don't hear the same energy for Jaylen Brown, who just got a $300 million contract.
That dude cannot dribble with his left hand to save his life.
He literally cannot go left. Like I'm not going to say it because I don't want to be Chris Broussard, but I was going to say something pretty rude about him. But.
Yeah, and like you said, Chris Middleton doesn't get enough credit for his playmaking, but let's talk about it. Let's start with the 76ers game. I was there. Super fun to be at, but let's start out to you from the Bucks and 76ers.
No. You were there. So whoever goes to the game gets the lead. So you lead. I'm following you on this one. I'll start the next
one. All right. All I'm going to say is I'm just going to be leaving you with scraps when I'm done.
You do what you got to do. I can work with scraps.
First thing that I noticed in this game, and it comes up a couple other times during this week of games, is Damian Lillard's pick and roll passing is on point. Yes. He will thread that needle between the 2 defenders who go to double team him off the pick and roll. Every time he's threading that needle, he's throwing that little side spin pass. It's getting through that perfectly into the hands of the roller every time. I noticed Jay Crowder was the first substitute of the game. The new offense, we knew that Giannis was going to be setting a lot of screens for Dame. We saw a couple times where Brooke and Giannis went to set screens for Damian Lillard. What we've seen a couple times, though, that we did not anticipate was Damian Lillard setting screens for Giannis.
Yeah, that's
just rude.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with that.
Damian Lillard did play 8 minutes and 23 seconds to start the game off. The Bucks scored 30 points in the first quarter. Nobody had more than 5, and all 9 players that checked in scored at least once.
I like that.
Bobby Portis came in and immediately started playing with that edge that Steven Watson told us about last Wednesday.
Yes, he did.
The Bucks moving the ball with passes more than dribbles, which is very encouraging. And then Marjon Beauchamp playing really good defense on Tyrese Maxey. The Bucks in the second quarter went on a 21-5 run that was followed by a 12-0 Philly run. And the Bucks did run a lineup with Giannis Antetokounmpo as point guard. And what I will say, this is something that stood out to me across the week, but I put it in my notes for the 76ers game because it was when I first noticed it. Adrian Griffin runs longer rotations. Yeah. His rotations seem to be 4, 5, 6 minutes as opposed to like 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
His rotations just run a little bit longer. And I think that's where we'll see the uptick in minutes per game for some of the starters and the upper level rotation players. Second half, I did notice something that I think will need to improve on the Bucks defense. It could be an adjustment game to game, or it could just be an in-game type adjustment, is the Bucks have to work on defending the high pick and roll. The 76ers got a lot of open threes out of it, and it's what allowed them to close the gap. Maybe that, in the future, that's switching those screens so that the 76ers, like Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey, and even Kelly Oubre, were able to get a lot of wide open threes from the top, basically straight on 3-point line.
Yeah.
Then we get to the fourth quarter. Bucks responded fantastically. They got down 102-94. That's not the fantastic part. They got down by 8 points and responded with a 19-2 run. That's the fantastic part.
Yeah.
A 19-2 run after getting down by 8 in a game they led by 20 points. My things with this game, the upgrade of Damian Lillard at the free throw line was at full display. Drew Holiday had his best free throw shooting season as a Buck last year, and Damian Lillard still shoots 10% better than that at the free throw line.
Yeah, that's insane.
And Damian Lillard, I can't believe this has to be said. Damian Lillard had the most points in a Bucks debut and the fourth most points in a new team debut in NBA history. That does not diminish Giannis Antetokounmpo's greatness on the court. Stop it.
Yeah.
The fact that we literally had people asking, do we still trust Giannis in late game situations, is just foolish. I will say on the subject of Giannis, he needs to not settle for jump shots, and that's going to be a consistent theme.
Yep.
And then 2 last things. One, Damian Lillard talked about it in his post game that fans cheering for him helps him to forget previous plays. So it helps him be present. Hearing that, and that's just good stuff from Damian Lillard. Him being present in the moment. It's something that I know fans, may not quite understand why that's important. But let's say Damian Lillard's having a game like the Hawks game, but say that game's a 1-possession game and Damian Lillard's shooting 2 for 11. He's still Damian Lillard. He's still a guy you trust taking last shots. He's not going to be thinking about the 9 that he missed. He's going to be thinking about the next one that he's going to make.
Yeah.
That's where that mindset thing comes in. And like I said, being present. And the last thing I'll say, Joel Embiid did not look like he wanted to be there. He did not look like he wanted to be playing basketball on Thursday. His body language was garbage.
It always is, in my opinion.
And this is what I'll leave this at, is that we, as Jake and I at Wisco Fanatics, we have a lot of respect for Tyrese Maxey and not a lot of respect for Joel Embiid. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you're a 76ers fan, sorry. I don't really have respect for Joel Embiid. His play style or the way he carries himself.
So I'm not sorry for that. The guy cries on the court, and off the court, he literally cried so much. What do I have to do to win an MVP? Well, they gave you one now, so shut the fuck up, okay? Big giant baby. Oh my God. I texted you the other day during the Hawks game. I was like, dude, I literally don't know who I hate watching more. Trae Young, who just gets every call for no reason.
Yeah.
Or Joel Embiid, who is 300 goddamn pounds. And he just flies around like he weighs 100 pounds. And he's a light piece of paper. It's like, dude, use your damn size. I'm sick and tired of that. He needs to stop that. Because he could really dominate. And I know Shaq has talked about it before. Joel Embiid has the ability, athleticism, and the size to absolutely run this league. Like, I'm not even shit when I say that. Get him out of Philly first. Probably where your shitty mindset starts, being in that crap hole city. Yeah, I hope somebody from Philly comments on this video. I'll come at you. I don't give a shit. But
sad news, Bob Knight passed away.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, man. We just trashed all over Indiana. Damn.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, man. He's throwing chairs up in heaven now.
Hey, that's all right.
Bob Knight was awesome, man. I wish I could have watched him in his prime, dude. He would have been a hoop, man. Especially in the social media era, dude. He would have went wild. Man. He would have went wild. But I'm gonna get to my points real quick. 1, Damian Lillard's clutch gene and free throw shooting were imminent in this first game.
The step back that he hit on Kelly Oubre, I was literally shook. I was in my seat like.
You know what I was doing. I was jumping up and down screaming, too, because I was
I was literally shook. Like, hands on my face, like, could not believe what I saw.
Right. What's up, James? How you doing, buddy? So 39 points in your first game, the step back 3, the 17 for 17 from the free throw line. He made 17 of the Bucks' 25 free throws. That is insane. He he does look like he's getting his quickness and his legs back more and more as the season goes on. So people always think about Dame as the 3-point shooter and the clutch, but his ability to get downhill, get open shots for 3-point shooters, and finish himself is something that goes unnoticed a little bit. So it was showing the good side in this game. The Bucks defense was flying around. I loved that we were running full court pressure in the first half. That was almost as exciting as Damian Lillard's 3-pointer. I'm not gonna lie. I was like thanking God that we were doing full. I was like, oh my freaking God, dude. Oh my freaking God, dude. I was like, dude, yes. Like, that is something as this defense gets better, right? Because I wrote down the Bucks defense was flying around. They just had some communication errors, in my opinion. And you can see them kind of having some of those breakdowns, in later games that we're going to talk about too, the Hawks and the Heat game. We give up a layup or a dunk or somebody ends up wide open on the 3-point line. Those are things that they're going to have to work out.
Yep.
Again, we're going to be redundant for the first couple of weeks here because we have to, but people are going to get open because they're working through stuff with a new coaching staff.
And this is the thing is that they will watch these games over more than even Jake and I will.
All right.
Like most of the games that we cover, I usually try to watch them all twice if I can.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be sitting here going through the reps over and over and over again.
Right.
To figure out where they messed up in their system.
Right. So in this one, I wrote down the bench stats for every game, and the bench has been really, really good. Against the 76ers, they had 22 points. This is not including Bobby Portis, by the way. I don't include Bobby. I just do the rest of the bench outside of Bobby because Bobby's just a consistent player. One of our top 5, in my opinion. So the bench scored 22 points. They had 8 rebounds, 4 assists. They shot 8 of 16, so 50%, and they were 2 for 7 from downtown. So they made 2 of the Bucks 11 3-pointers. So, I mean, that's not bad when you look at it that way. But, the 22, 8, and 4 from, a bunch of guys that, have to do it is a really, really nice thing. So bench production, the defensive pressure, and Damian Lillard's clutch gene were the top 3 things that I took away from this one.
Last thing on the 76ers game, fundamental failures. So every year I track the 3 fundamentals I believe is making free throws, boxing out, and not turning the ball over. So I look at missed free throws, opponent points off turnovers, and opponent second chance points. Last year, the mark was 33.8. Mm-hmm. And this year it's a little higher. So the 2022-2023 season, they averaged 38 on those fundamental failure points, a little higher than it was after the 2021-2022 season. But this game, the Bucks were good. They did miss 11 free throws, which is ugly. But 16 points off turnovers, that's pretty much at the ceiling of where I would want them to be. Only 3 second chance points for the 76ers, which is very good. That totals 30 on the fundamental failure points. So the Bucks on their fundamentals did well against the 76ers. All right, so we got to get this one out of the way. It's not bad that it's sandwiched in between 2 good games, but what stood out to you against the Hawks?
Not a lot. It seemed like Atlanta wanted this one a little bit more.
They started 0-2, which I think is why.
Yeah, they were like, we got to get our first win. The Bucks' legs didn't look alive and awake. The Bucks didn't look awake, really. They made a little run in the first half when Bobby Portis came in. Bobby gave him a really big jolt of energy, and he was balling. He got it down to a 5-point game or a 1-point game, I believe, when he was still in. But overall, the Bucks. God, I'm just gonna go through some stats here. The Bucks shot 39 of 86. The Hawks shot 47 of 93. So they shot 5% better. Bucks 45, Hawks 50%. The Hawks shot 15 of 37 from 3, and the Bucks were 16 of 44. So they were 4% better from the 3-point line, and they shot 7 less. So I mean, that's not great either. They out rebounded us. They had 32 assists to 22 assists. Here's where this starts to get ugly, right? They had 17 turnovers. The Bucks had 23 turnovers. The Bucks had more turnovers than assists. They almost doubled their turnovers to assists. They had 50 points in the paint to our 44. They had 25 fast break points to our 7. and they only missed 4 free throws just like us, but they made 2 more. I mean, really all around. I mean, Atlanta had the largest lead of 31, so they really came into Milwaukee looking to get a W. But I will say the bright spot of this game, I mean, Giannis was really good. 9 of 14. He has 26, 11, and 3. Damian Lillard, this is the game he struggled.
Yep.
Brooke had 13. Beasley had 18. He played really, really well.
Yep.
Bobby had 12. And then the bench, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. They shot 11 of 23 and 9 of 15 from downtown.
Nice.
That's really, really solid. So, I mean, positive is that the bench, got some good minutes and they played really, really well. The downside is the starters did not play really good.
Yeah. So Chris Middleton didn't play this game as the first game of a back-to-back. Bucks fans already being dumb about that, which is annoying. Why did we pay this guy if he's always hurt? Do you realize Bradley Beal hasn't played a game yet this season?
Yep.
And people wanted to trade Chris Middleton for Bradley Beal. So
yeah, right.
And he's going to be making more money than Middleton.
For real, I was going to say he's making a lot more money.
Yeah. So a couple early turnovers by the Bucks led to a 7-2 lead for Atlanta. 5 of those points coming off turnovers. Like I said, Giannis, you got to be smarter than a dribble up 3 with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Yeah. Don't do that. That's why when I made my stat projections, I put Giannis's 3-point percentage as NA because I literally don't want him to shoot any.
I put it as NA as well. So I don't want to, like the open ones, yeah, sure, but like,
right?
Oh, you're not a dribble up rhythm shooter.
3 in rhythm, but no, Giannis, we don't need dribble pull up 3s with 20 seconds on the shot clock in a game that we're down by 5.
It's not a bad thing to say that. Like Giannis, that's not your game, bro. Like you do what I said for Embiid, man. Use your body, use your size. That's how you dominate, dude. Do that.
Yeah. So the Bucks were down 12-3 at the first time out of the game. And I'll say this is the trade-off of playing closer on the perimeter is easier paint touches. And the Hawks really showed that. In addition to starting 4 of 7 on threes, where the Bucks started 1 for 7. I will say the Bucks did finish the first quarter on a 14-5 run and had the lead cut to 6. In the second quarter, a Malik Beasley 3 cut the lead to 1. But overall, the first half, bad shooting, turnovers, and not their best defense led to a 21-point lead for Atlanta. Malik Beasley was good to start the second half. Good defense, good hustle, hit a couple threes. The third quarter offense did pick up a little bit, but Atlanta's didn't slow down. Both teams scored 33 in the third quarter. And then after that, it was basically just reserves. Jake mentioned the 23 turnovers. I would really like the Bucks to be between 12 and 15.
Yeah, that's livable.
Right. That would be like my goal for them. They got to do better at the free throw line and turnovers with the fundamental failures. 4 missed free throws is better. That's much better. 22 points off turnovers for Atlanta is a lot. And 18 second chance points is a lot.
Yeah.
That totaled up to 44 fundamental failure points. That's a lot. Just a bad shooting night combined with the defensive system adjustment that is happening. The Bucks ran a lot of double teams, which again makes those paint touches easier. And then the big difference in Damian Lillard's game: 17 free throws against Philadelphia, 0 against Atlanta. So that's one of those things where, getting to the free throw line, getting some easy ones, seeing the ball go through the basket, stuff like that does matter.
Yep.
All right, last one, and then we'll get everybody out of here so we can go watch the Bucks game. What stood out to you from the Bucks and Heat game on Monday?
Well, Dame and Giannis were much better. They were they were ready for this one. First of all, the first thing that pops out in your brain is Giannis dressed as the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Tremendous that he did the post-game presser with that on and was dead ass serious, like he wasn't wearing a child's outfit. That was amazing. But what else do we expect from Giannis, right? Every couple weeks, he gives us something else to be like, yeah, that's Giannis, right?
Don't be scared. Come on.
He's the best, dude. Damian Lillard, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 7 of 14 in this one, so absolutely a much better game. Giannis, 33, 7 and 2. Chris Middleton played in this one 17 minutes. He had 5 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. He's getting his legs under him, and you could see the fit, right? I wanted to bring this up because, I knew I was going to talk about top 75 player. What's missing in the middle there is a puzzle piece named Chris Middleton. You put that all together, you get one beautiful picture.
Nice. That was well done.
Thank you. Not the greatest puzzle, just some meaty claws, but you get the picture. Chris Middleton is absolutely the perfect third wheel for this duo, man. He's a guy that understands Giannis. He's a guy that could also help on the perimeter with the shooting and playmaking with Damian Lillard. So, I mean, honestly, you can't think of a better dream scenario for Damian Lillard to be put in, honestly. There was an article written when he was traded here talking about, and it was a slight at Milwaukee. He said, right team, wrong city. But it absolutely is the correct roster. Yeah. This roster is built to win now. This roster fits with Damian Lillard's play style. Yeah. See you later, Tim. But it's just it's gonna be great. I don't want to keep harping on it, but dude, I cannot wait till Chris Middleton gets up to full speed because we are gonna absolutely pound some people, dude.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Middleton and Dame to both have 5-6 threes in a game, and Giannis just dunk it on your center, dude. That's gonna be I'm just gonna be laughing on my couch, dude. But Brook Lopez, 11.7 rebounds. Bobby, 16 and 8. Beasley, he took a step back in this one, but that's because Dame took a step forward, in my opinion. He did struggle shooting the ball. He got some wide open looks. He's not used to being that wide open, man. He will get used to it, though. The bench, 27 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. So here's where the game is won, and then I'll pass it off to you, my man. The Heat made a run in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Bucks 41-25. They did a lot of that damage with the Bucks kind of taking the foot off the gas, in my opinion. They hit some threes. But the game was tied after the first quarter, 28-28, if my memory is correct. The Bucks outscored the Heat 69-45 in the second and third quarter combined. Nice. See? I'm telling you, it just finds me. But that run of, and this is when the Bucks were really dominating their championship year too, is going into half strong, coming out of half strong, kind of just blitzing you on both ends of halftime with, killing you. You make your adjustments. We make adjustments to your adjustments, and we go into the fourth quarter with the lead. And then we just ride our defense in free throw shooting, which, Chris Middleton used to be that guy, but Chris Middleton and Dame now are two very viable options. Brook Lopez isn't bad either.
Yep.
So 69-45 in the second and third quarter, that's where the game was won against the Miami Heat. And that's where we struggled in the playoffs last year against them.
Yeah, so this has been brought up, but Giannis starting the game on Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
It's good to see. Giannis scored the first 10 points of the game, and then Miami went into a zone, and Damian Lillard immediately hit a three. AJ Green got a little bit of first quarter playing time with Marjon Beauchamp missing the game with an illness. The Bucks ran an all-bench lineup in the first quarter, which is interesting. Bobby Portis, more energy off the bench. 4 minutes in the first quarter, Bobby Portis had 6 points and 3 rebounds already. And then I almost said Javon Carter because that's the same initials. Jay Crowder got a 3-pointer at the buzzer to end the first half to give the Bucks a 10-point lead. Ball movement in the third quarter was beautiful. The Bucks were doing a good job forcing the ball to Jimmy Butler's hands in the third quarter. Jimmy Butler finished with 13 points on 4 of 11 shooting and did not play the fourth quarter. Cam Payne was given the bench a little bit of a boost with some threes in the fourth quarter. And then, like you said, the Bucks kind of took their foot off the gas. I wrote down that the Bucks offense slowed down with the pace and scoring wise. Miami was able to cut the lead to single digits with 4:43 to go. The lead was down to 6 of the minute 20. Overall, the final score was not indicative of how the game went. So you did mention that Damian Lillard bounced back. He finished he did only make 2 out of 7 threes, which isn't great, but he did finish 7 of 14 overall, which is 50% from the field, which is good. Overall, fundamental failures, 8 missed free throws, which I'd still like to see lower. 18 points off turnovers. That's really at the ceiling of where I'd want him to be. 0 second chance points for the Miami Heat. So 26 on the fundamental failure points, the lowest of the 3 games so far this week. And I will say that Bam Adebayo not playing for the Miami Heat is a factor in that, which is a bummer because as we say, Jake and I, seriously, Bam Adebayo is just another one of those guys that we have a ton of respect for.
I love Bam. I hate that he plays for the Heat. I wish he would.
I know. And it's like we could probably make a starting five of really good players of teams, or like a team of players that we don't like where they're playing.
Yeah.
Like just the two, we talked about two of them today with Tyrese Maxey and Bam Adebayo.
Love Tyrese Maxey, dude.
Those two, if they weren't playing in Philadelphia and Miami, probably be two of our favorite players in the league. And Bam Adebayo, even though he is in Miami, is still one of our favorite players in the league.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, dude. He doesn't cry.
Yeah.
He just goes out there, does his job, dude. And again, dude, he's turned into a really good player since he's got that mid-range jumper, dude. He's fantastic.
And he carries himself well. And so does Tyrese Maxey. They don't have shitty body language like some other players that we've seen and talked about.
100%.
All right. If you stuck with us through the whole marathon of the Badgers basketball primer, the Badgers football, and the Bucks basketball segment, your reward is now you can switch over to another channel and go watch the Bucks game. I will say, if you are still here at the end of the episode, nobody claimed the 5K follower giveaway on Facebook yet. So if you can go back through our content and find out what the 13-letter, 3-word phrase was for our 5,000 follower giveaway and comment it on the Wisconsin Sports What If episode, we got a whole bunch of stuff. We got a sweet Jordan Love card, a 20-pack of cards. We got a set of fan locks, Giannis Antetokounmpo pot figure, and we'll throw in some Wisco Fanatics stuff in there. So that is still up for grabs. If you can find out what the phrase is and go comment it on Saturday's video, where Jake and I covered some Wisconsin Sports What If questions. Other than that, go Bucks. Jake and I'll be back on Friday night talking about the Packers.